You know, I mean, me and you, who couldn't fight our way out of a wet paper bag, shouldn't allow another man to talk to us like that. So, the world heavy...
You know, that's when there's certain things that you say, you just don't say to the fighter. You don't cross the line in the fight, and I think...
I'm not saying that I condone that behaviour, because I don't.
It's all about, like I say, self-promotion, selling a fight, and if you can do that, then you're going to get more eyes on the sport, more eyes on the actual contest itself. So it's nothing new. It's really nothing new.
I didn't like it. Yeah. I want a press conference here to talk to the press, not to start screaming, effing and blinding, using language that they were using and doing all the stuff they were doing. No one wants that. I certainly don't want it, especially I'm stuck in the middle.
Jermaine Franklin just destroyed his own boxing career with one slap, and the entire boxing world is coming for him. What started as a routine press conference turned into absolute chaos when Franklin lost his mind and struck Moses Itauma in front of 500 people and international media. But here's what nobody's telling you about what really happened in that room. This wasn't just some heat-of-the-moment mistake. This was a complete meltdown that exposed everything wrong with Franklin's mentality, and now every major name in boxing is speaking out. Duke McKenzie, Roy Jones Jr., Frank Warren, they're all saying the same thing. Franklin crossed a line that you can't come back from.
Kept interrupting, but like when he actually spoke, he was compelling and he was believable. Like he means it. You know?
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. The boxing pros didn't just criticize Franklin, they completely destroyed him. And I'm talking about legends here, guys who have seen everything in this sport. Duke McKenzie immediately called out the reality of what happened, pointing out that there's a massive difference between promoting a fight and acting like a complete amateur. You want to talk trash? Fine. You want to sell tickets with some verbal warfare? That's the game. But the second you put your hands on someone at a press conference, you've just shown everyone that you don't belong at this level. McKenzie made it crystal clear that Franklin's actions weren't just unprofessional, they were career-damaging. Because in boxing, respect and discipline separate the real fighters from the wannabes. And Franklin just proved which category he belongs in.
People do that these days, but as ex-boxers, we don't want to fight for nothing. You want to get paid. That's what we used to do. We're prize fighters. We used to be guys running off at the mouth and talking rubbish all the time. That's just the norm, isn't it? These days, it's all about, like I say, self-promotion.
Wait, it gets worse. Derek Chisora broke down exactly how Franklin lost control, and his analysis is devastating. He explained that boxing environments are already charged with tension, adrenaline, and ego. Every real professional knows this. They know that one small provocation can explode into something massive if you don't have the mental strength to handle it. But Franklin, he let emotions completely take over his brain. Chisora pointed out that this isn't just about one bad moment. This is about a fundamental lack of composure that you absolutely cannot have in professional boxing. When you're under intense media scrutiny, when cameras are rolling, when your reputation is on the line, that's exactly when your discipline gets tested. And Franklin failed spectacularly.
They would have moved it on. So that probably triggered him with so much. So he went mad.
Now listen to this part, because Robert Smith didn't hold anything back. He made it clear that Franklin didn't just cross the line, he obliterated it. The boxing authorities got involved immediately, and that should tell you everything about how serious this was. We're not talking about some minor incident that gets swept under the rug. Every single professional in that room recognized the severity of what just happened. Smith emphasized that this kind of reckless behavior doesn't just get ignored in boxing. There are real consequences when you act like this, and Franklin is about to find out exactly what those consequences look like. The authorities reviewed the footage, they talked to witnesses, and they saw a fighter who completely lost control of himself in the most public way possible.
There will be an appeal taking place, so that fine could be reduced or it could be increased. It goes in front of a completely independent appeal steward.
Here's the kicker, though. Isaac Lowe revealed just how reckless Franklin's decision really was. Picture this scene. Over 500 people packed into this venue, media from around the world with cameras rolling, and Franklin decides to get in Moses Itauma's face and create a situation that could have exploded into absolute chaos. Lowe didn't mince words about this. He called it entirely avoidable, completely reckless, and utterly disrespectful, not just to Moses, but to everyone in that room. In professional boxing, respect and control aren't just nice ideas, they're non-negotiable requirements. Franklin's actions showed that he doesn't understand this basic concept. He embarrassed himself, he embarrassed his team, and he embarrassed the entire sport. And the worst part, he did it all in front of an international audience.
Getting a man's face in front of a hall with over 500 people, what do you expect someone to do? Pushing and shoving, and we all know Big John's quick-tempered, do you know what I mean? But he threw the headbutt first, so it is what it is, but I think...
But here's where the story gets absolutely insane. Gareth Davies dropped some numbers that will blow your mind about how close this came to total disaster. We're talking about entourages of 25 people on each side. That's 50 fighters, trainers, and team members ready to throw down. Add 150 international media members crammed into the mezzanine, all with cameras and equipment. Davies pointed out that Franklin's slap could have ignited a full-blown brawl involving dozens of people in a confined space. Think about that for a second. We're not just talking about two fighters having a scuffle. We're talking about potential riot conditions with innocent media members caught in the middle. Davies made it clear that this wasn't just unprofessional, it was downright dangerous. Thankfully, security acted fast enough to prevent total chaos, but the responsibility for creating that powder keg situation falls completely on Franklin's shoulders.
Huge brawl in there because both entourages are huge, about 25 in each team. There's about 150 international media here as well in the mezzanine floor. It was still dramatic anyway, but thankfully the security did a great job as well.
And get this, Eddie Hearn witnessed the whole thing, and his reaction tells you everything about how bad this really was. Hearn pointed out that Franklin's actions were so out of line that physical separation by security became absolutely necessary. This is a guy who's seen thousands of press conferences, who knows how to handle heated situations, and even he was shocked by Franklin's lack of control. Hearn emphasized that provoking Moses in that environment, with all those cameras rolling, could have turned into a complete nightmare for everyone involved. Franklin ignored every rule of professionalism and put the safety of everyone in that room at risk. Hearn's comments underscore something crucial. Fighters at this level are supposed to be disciplined and measured. Losing control like this doesn't just damage your own reputation, it damages the credibility of the entire sport.
You honestly think if these two come together like this, well, you know what's going to happen.
So what do you want?
I'm going to keep them.
Now here's where it gets really interesting, because Frank Warren's reaction reveals the business side of this disaster. Warren, who's one of the biggest promoters in boxing, made it crystal clear that he absolutely despises antics like Franklin's. He didn't like the slap, he didn't like the unnecessary drama, and he sees it as exactly the kind of childish behavior that overshadows the actual sport. Warren understands something that Franklin clearly doesn't. The focus should be on the contest, not on public outbursts and unprofessional conduct. This reflects poorly on Franklin's character, and in boxing, your reputation outside the ring is just as important as your skills inside it. Warren's words carry serious weight in this industry, and when a promoter of his caliber calls out your behavior publicly, that's going to affect your future opportunities in a major way.
I don't think anybody can beat me, especially with the team that I've got. I don't think anybody can beat me on my night. I think, obviously, nobody's invincible. Like, there's a possibility that it can go wrong, but I just think if you're talking about like on the odds, I just don't think anyone could be standing in front of me with my...
But hold up. While Franklin was busy destroying his reputation, Moses Itauma was showing everyone exactly how a professional handles pressure. Moses came out with supreme confidence, stating bluntly that nobody can beat him on his night. But here's what's brilliant about his approach. He's not just talking trash, he's projecting the mindset of an elite fighter who genuinely believes in his preparation and skill set. Moses acknowledged that there's always a slight chance of error in any fight, but his words sent a clear warning to Franklin and everyone else watching. He sees himself as nearly untouchable in the ring, and that kind of authentic self-belief can be absolutely devastating to opponents who are already mentally unstable. Moses showed that he's not just physically ready for this fight, he's mentally wired to dominate when the spotlight hits.
Just going through the motion, he's serious about it, you know, so I liked it.
Yeah, like his energy was like...
Here's where Roy Jones Jr.'s analysis gets really fascinating. Jones immediately recognized something crucial about Moses' demeanor throughout this entire week of promotion. While Franklin was getting distracted by media attention and letting his emotions run wild, Moses approached every press conference with professional composure and mental clarity. Jones highlighted that success in boxing isn't just about raw talent, it's about mindset and mental preparation. Moses' ability to stay completely collected under pressure, especially after getting slapped by his opponent, signals that he's genuinely prepared for Franklin's unpredictability. Jones knows what he's talking about when it comes to mental warfare in boxing, and his assessment suggests that Moses' focused demeanor could be the decisive factor when these two finally step into the ring.
Problems to Jermaine, but they're probably around the same height, maybe Moses a couple of inches taller. I like this matchup. Stylistically, I like this matchup as well. Like, Jermaine comes to fight, and that could sort of fall into Moses' hands. In fact,
now listen to this breakdown from Oladipo, because it reveals some tactical advantages that most people are missing. Depot pointed out Moses' slight height edge and his ability to impose himself physically, but more importantly, he analyzed the stylistic matchup between these fighters. Both guys bring aggression and intent to dominate, but here's the key. Moses may actually benefit from Franklin's forward pressure if he uses his reach and movement effectively. Depot's analysis suggests that Franklin's aggressive style, the same mentality that led to the slapping incident, could actually play right into Moses' hands if he maintains composure and counters smartly. This fight isn't just about power or toughness, it's about timing, strategy, and capitalizing on openings. And based on what we've seen from both fighters' behavior, Moses appears much better positioned to leverage his attributes for maximum impact.
In the meantime, I think we've put together a brilliant fight with Jermaine Franklin, the American. It's going to be a good fight. I think, with Moses and him, I think it's going to be a good fight, and I think it's a good test.
Frank Warren's perspective on this matchup reveals the strategic brilliance behind putting these two fighters together. Warren described this as both a spectacle for the fans and a meaningful test for Moses' development. He's framing this fight as a proving ground where raw talent meets real-world challenge under intense pressure. By highlighting that both fighters bring completely different styles and experience levels, Warren is setting the stage for a contest that will test Moses' composure, adaptability, and ring intelligence in ways he's never been tested before. This isn't just another fight on the schedule. It's carefully curated matchmaking designed to push Moses while showcasing his skills to a wider audience. The anticipation builds around whether Moses can navigate Franklin's chaotic aggression and turn this challenge into a definitive statement about his future in the heavyweight division.
I'm 50-50. Personally, it depends on what style he brings. So it's like, I think if he's like measured, then yeah. But if he does what I think he might try and do, which is I'm gonna show this guy, get inside and work, like clever shots, I don't think so. I think with someone like Moses, who is naturally so explosive and so quick and technical, he's got so many good attributes, but as we've seen with in any sport across any profession, that explosiveness, in my opinion, cannot happen for 12 rounds. It never happens.
But here's what Franklin is thinking about all this. Despite the universal criticism from boxing professionals, Franklin Jr. remains completely unwavering in his confidence. He's declaring himself a warrior both inside and outside the ring, positioning himself as fearless and refusing to back down from anyone. Franklin sees Moses' relative inexperience as something he can exploit, and his mindset signals a fighter who genuinely thrives on confrontation and chaos. Franklin's words are as much psychological warfare as they are declarations of intent, designed to intimidate and unsettle Moses before the opening bell. Fans should expect an extremely aggressive, in-your-face performance from Franklin. But whether this bravado and willingness to create chaos translates into sustained success in the ring will depend entirely on Moses' ability to absorb that pressure and respond with calculated precision instead of emotional reactions.
Itauma, who looks absolutely extraordinary, and for me he ticks all the boxes. I like his attitude, I like his style, southpaw, hard-hitting, moves so well. He's going to be very, very difficult to sort of deter. So it's an interesting one because, yeah, is this too soon for Moses, or is this just the right fight at the right time?
Adam Smith's analysis of Moses reveals why so many experts believe he's the real deal. Smith praised Moses as a complete package, hard-hitting, technically sound, with an imposing southpaw style that creates problems for orthodox fighters. Smith noted Moses' natural composure and fluid movement, emphasizing that he will be extremely difficult for any opponent to unsettle mentally or physically. But Smith raised the crucial question that everyone in boxing is debating. Is this the right time for Moses to face a seasoned, gritty fighter like Franklin? Is it too soon for someone with Moses' limited professional experience? Or is this the perfect moment to test his skills under real pressure against someone who brings genuine threats? Smith's assessment suggests that while Moses' attributes are undeniable, this fight will reveal whether he can translate his obvious potential into execution against a tested opponent who's proven he can go the distance with elite competition.
Case of, let's see, 1, if we can get rounds. 2, can he do a better job than Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte did? Can he get rounds but also get him out of there? I guess that's kind of the question for Moses. But for me, this is the perfect bit of matchmaking. This is everything that fight fans have wanted. They want to see what happens when Moses Itauma goes a few rounds, has someone who's...
Oladipo framed Franklin as the ideal developmental opponent for Moses, but his reasoning reveals something deeper about smart matchmaking in boxing. While casual fans always crave high-profile clashes with elite fighters, Depot stressed that careful, measured growth builds longevity and genuine confidence in young fighters. Franklin brings legitimate credentials as a top 30 contender who shared the ring with Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, providing a real benchmark to assess Moses' current level and future potential. This fight offers Moses a rare opportunity to test his skills against a proven professional while maintaining manageable risk for his long-term development. Depot's insight highlights the delicate balance between providing meaningful challenges and protecting a prospect's confidence and record. This bout is less about creating a spectacle and more about meaningful development that will determine Moses' trajectory in the heavyweight division. Tommy Knight Dev Sahani presented this matchup as perfectly calculated matchmaking that blends excitement with strategic development. He pointed out that this fight will answer crucial questions about whether Moses can go rounds effectively while handling a fighter who applies relentless pressure and brings genuine ill intentions. Sahani made an interesting comparison, suggesting that Moses has a real chance to outperform what Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte achieved against Franklin if he maintains his composure and fights smart. The matchup promises to reveal key insights about Moses' readiness for the next level and his adaptability when facing real adversity in professional conditions. By calling it perfect matchmaking, Sahani emphasized the stakes for both fighters. Fans will finally see Moses tested by genuine adversity and pressure, while simultaneously getting insight into his skill level, mental resilience, and potential for competing at the highest levels of the heavyweight division. Moses Itauma's final words before this fight reveal everything about his mindset and preparation. Despite Franklin's antics and the media circus surrounding this matchup, Moses approaches this contest with intense focus and genuine respect for his opponent's abilities. He acknowledges the controversy surrounding Franklin's past performances, including the split opinions about his fight with Dillian Whyte, but frames these uncertainties as pure motivation for his own preparation. Moses signals that he's fully prepared to rise to this occasion, understanding that his performance will define his reputation and momentum in the heavyweight division going forward.